EFL Fantasy is finally here, and in today's video I'm going to give you the ultimate guide on how you can get set up, build your team and start playing the new fantasy game. Now before we dive into today's video, obviously this is a new EFL Fantasy game. There's never been, kind of anyone making any content on this, so if you do enjoy it, be sure to like, comment and obviously subscribe to the channel. If this video does well, obviously we will start making more regular content on the new EFL Fantasy game. So first of all, let's start off with the rules. Now it works completely different to obviously Euro Fantasy if you played that over the summer, Champions League Fantasy if you played that at any point, and of course FPL. It also works very, very different to that. Basically, my kind of understanding and kind of a very general gist point is if you've ever played F1 Fantasy, it probably works a little bit more closer to that. So let's read through some of the rules that have come in with this game. So each week you pick 7 players from all EFL matches. So that includes the Championship, League 1 and League 2. You can pick a player as many times as you like throughout the season, but you can only select 2 players from one club each game week. That seems pretty fair enough to me. Pretty self-explanatory as well. Also, with the 7 players, you will also select 2 clubs. So if you've ever played F1 Fantasy, you know it works very similar where you pick your drivers and then you pick 2 constructors. The same again works within this principle. However, you can only pick a team 5 times each season. That's basically it. Basically, that stops you obviously picking like Leeds or, say a team that's doing extremely well towards the top end of one table, maybe Birmingham in League 1. They're probably going to dominate that. So, it kind of stops you just picking the same team each week. Obviously, we'll come on to talk about point scoring with each team as well. But yeah, that's basically what you're doing. So you're going to pick 7 players each match week with 2 clubs as well. Obviously, as well, you will get a captain, very similar to FPL, where they get times 2 points. Very, very simple, very, very easy. And obviously here as well, I've put, unlike FPL, you will get to select 7 new players and 2 teams each week. So you don't have any transfers, you get to pick a brand new 7 with 2 new teams every single week. So I think that's kind of a unique thing, and I kind of like that they've done that. I think if they'd made it like FPL, I don't think this game would have worked. Whereas now what you can do, you can basically change your team every single week, have a little bit of fun, target the teams that are obviously going to do quite well, because the EFL is so expansive as well. It probably would have been too hard to just kind of focus on, individual players and stuff like that. So I think this is a great move from them. Also, each game will have a lockout individually. This means that you can make changes up with your team until obviously the games kick off. So it works similar-ish to Euro Fantasy. If you played that over the summer, obviously it basically went up to like the first game, and then in between games you were allowed to make changes to your side. Very same principles where if a player hasn't played, you can very easily just swap them out. You can also move the captain round, but unlike Euro Fantasy, your captain, once it's played, that's it. It's locked. It's done. You cannot remove it to a player. But what you can do is obviously keep changing players around if they've not already played within that match day. So I kind of like that. I like that as well. I think that gives it a little bit of a unique selling point as well. Maybe if you get a little bit of early team news or find out something that one of the players is going to be, obviously not playing, or maybe you're just not feeling as confident on a club, you can still change it, which I kind of like. Obviously though, once a player has played, that's it. They're locked in. Same with captaincy as well. Let's move on to talk about chips. Obviously these are a big part in every single fantasy game, and in Euro Fantasy they only have 1 chip. Obviously because you're basically getting, unlimited transfers every week, so you don't need a wild card, you don't need a free hit. The one thing you have is the max captain chip. Now I think this would be a great addition to fantasy football, and when I talk through it, I think you will agree with my statement as well. You'll have the opportunity to play your max captain chip twice a year over the course of the season, and when the max captain chip is applied, the highest scoring player in your team will automatically be made the captain for that game week once all the players have played. I absolutely like this. I love it. I think this could be a great addition to FPL if they were to introduce it. So basically, all your players play, you don't have a captain, but whoever gets the highest points for that game week will automatically become the captain. That's it. Boom. I think that is a fantastic chip. Obviously, you only get to play it twice a year, which is a little bit disappointing. Maybe they could have come up with like another extra chip, because obviously you need something, maybe like 10 players, or, you know, just like a triple captain chip or something. I think this is a great idea, but again, I think only being able to use it twice a year probably is going to make it a little bit more harder, especially for people like with content as well. It's probably not going to be as exciting, but I mean, you do get unlimited transfers every single week, so you're still, you know, you're getting some pretty good stuff, and I definitely think this is a great chip. Moving on to the next section, we're going to talk through what is it? It's scoring system. That's what we're going to talk about. Obviously, it's got a very similar kind of basic generic scoring system to most fantasy games. You know, players up until 59 minutes played, they get 1 point. Appearance after that, 2 points. Assist, 3. Hat trick points, that's a good one. I like that. Plus 5 points for that one. That's a different one. Missed penalties, yellow cards, red cards. They're in the game. They're in every kind of fantasy game ever known to man. In terms of a different one, though, let's move on to goalkeepers and defenders. Obviously, clean sheet, goals, we all know that. Goals scored, again, works very similar to FPL and any other games. Obviously, though, your defenders, they're getting extra points for doing some more things. Clearances, every 3 clearances, you pick up a point. Every 2 blocks, you pick up a point. And every 2 successful tackles as well, you'll get an extra point. Because I think with the EFL, it's a lot more harder to come by clean sheets, in my opinion. A lot of the games, you know, sometimes you'll be playing teams like Cheltenham or other teams down the bottom that, you know, sometimes they just manage to pick up a goal. That's just the way that the EFL goes. I am an EFL fan. I support Mansfield. I fully understand sometimes you can be the best defence and sometimes you will just concede to random teams. So I like this. I think this is a nice addition. Kind of looking for players on this basis, though, is probably going to be a little bit harder with kind of, you know, more sporadic data for the lesser leagues, but I still think it's a great addition. Moving on to midfielders. Let's just scroll down so you guys can see that as well. Moving on to the midfielders. Again, they pick up extra points for doing simple things. Every 2 key passes, there's an extra point. And every 2 shots on target, also an extra point. So, you know, some nice little additions for players to pick up extra points. So you want to be obviously targeting the players that, you know, do well in games. They're involved in games. They're not just, you know, picking up the odd goal here and there. They're getting the blocks. It's kind of, you're looking for the key players for each side. Obviously, you've only got 7 as well, so I think that's a really, really nice addition. Moving on to the club section. Obviously, this is another area that you will pick up points. Let me just scroll down so you guys can see that. So clubs will obviously score points based on the following metrics. A win, 5 points. A draw, 3 points. An away win, an extra 2 points. Clean sheet, an extra 2 points. And 2+ goals scored, 2 points as well. I like the away win one because sometimes the top teams, you know, when they've got away fixtures, you might not be incentivized to go for them. But with this, I think that makes it a little bit more interesting. So, you know, I think that's a good dynamic to have. I like that. It offers, you know, going for some different teams as well, going for the top teams maybe when they're playing away as well, or maybe looking at some alternative clubs, especially with the clean sheet data and stuff like that. So I think, you know, the points metrics, they're good. Whether or not I'm going to use them and maybe see how they go throughout the course of the season, like the tackles and stuff, I'm probably not going to be bringing in players personally for my sake and my team based off that. But I think it's a nice metric, and I think it adds a little bit more flavour to the game. Moving on, I thought we would take a look at actually building a team itself and everything you need to know about the team. So obviously there's multiple formations that you can pick, and we'll kind of go through all them as we're putting my first team together right here on the video. I think another cool thing as well is there is no budget to worry about. I really, really like that. I think sometimes with FPL games, you know, especially when they're trying to get them off the ground and kind of launch with casuals in mind, I think this game's done the greatest thing. Not putting prices in, it means you can just have a little bit of fun. I think that's the best thing about this game. It just feels like one of those games that you can pick up, do it for about 5 minutes, and just have a little bit of fun with it. So let's start off with, should we go clubs? Yeah, let's go clubs first. So Birmingham have got Reading. So this is organised by top selected. We'll add all the leagues in there. So obviously Leeds are at home against Portsmouth, so that's probably a very good fixture target. Norwich against Oxford again. Wrexham against Wickham. So there's some decent ones in here as well. Barnsley against Mansfield. Probably should target against us, to be honest. Rotherham against Exeter seems like a pretty decent one to go and pick up as well. So yeah, there's some definite interesting ones in here. Let's start off with, I think we've got to go for Leeds. They play in Portsmouth at home. That seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me. Then let's go for... who else do I fancy going for here? We'll go for Rotherham. I think they've signed some pretty decent players over the course of the summer as well. Playing against Exeter, I think they'll do quite well. So that's the 2 teams selected. Let's move on back to players. Let's select all the leagues. As you can see, Sammy Schmodix is the most selected player. No real surprise with that one. Can I filter by player? Or can I just not? No, I can't. That's a little bit frustrating. I wish there was a way maybe you could have filtered by like team or players. Oh no, there is a filter drop down there. Ignore me. There is. Let's start off with goalkeepers first. Let's pick our goalkeeper. I think we want to go for a team at home that could do quite well. Angus Gunn seems like a pretty decent shout. Oxford away. I'm going to go for that in terms of our goalkeeper. Let's move on into our defenders. Again, do we back Leeds or more from an attacking standpoint? I mean, Ethan Ampadu is a pretty decent pickup, isn't it? So we're going to pick Ethan Ampadu. Who else should we go for? Let's have a look down here. I'm just trying to think who's got decent fixtures. Sean Raggett's a very good defender. Again, though, we would be back in. You know what? Let's go for that. Let's put Sean Raggett in there as well. Midfielders, let's obviously go for the highest player in there. Callum O'Hare's looked very decent in pre-season. Well, the one game I've seen him so far. And then I reckon our second Leeds player is going to be Somerville. And who do we go for here in terms of forwards? Oh, Billy Sharp's attempting one. Or Ellis Sims. Ellis Sims finished last season on fire. Boom. Now the team is complete. Pick your captain and vice-captain. I reckon we go Somerville for captain. Make sure you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. Wonderful stuff. You can see that. And then we'll go for... Oh, no, that one. There we go. I think that's done it. And then Vice, O'Hare, Bosch, saved. My team is saved. I will create a league. We'll sort that out right. No, we won't sort that out. I will sort that out. Put a link in the video as well afterwards. After we've done it. But yeah, that's basically it. That is our team selected. Like I said, you can obviously then go and obviously fiddle around as well. There's obviously different formations. I think as well you can basically go and do this. So if I didn't want Raggett, I could remove him. And what we could actually go and get is an extra midfielder, if I'm correct in believing so. So let's just say... Oh, no, you can't. I'm lying to you guys. I think you still need 2 defenders. Is that right? Is that right? 2 defenders, maybe? Okay, I need to take a little bit more of a look at that. But yeah, that's the basic principles of the game so far. So you can obviously go in here, pick all your players you want. Obviously up here is the captaincy chip we spoke through as well. But I think that's going to call the end of today's video. Obviously, I'm still kind of getting to grips with the game. I need to take a little bit more of a detailed look at how the formations work and stuff like that. But obviously, if you did enjoy today's video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, this was a very, very basic, rough guide of how to play the game, how to get your team set up. Like I said, I'll get a mini league set up. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. I will put a link out on there. And obviously, if you want to see more EFL Fantasy content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen.